for practical applications when you have a refrigerator or heat pump. Then we look at what are the different refrigerants available, and we'll briefly talk about other methods. So one of them is gas cycle refrigeration. Okay, so let us begin with the Rankine cycle. So this is how it looks. So let us first focus on this diagram. So what happens is process 1 to 2. Okay, you have a pump and you have water in liquid state. Okay, so liquid water is pumped through from point 1 to point 2. Now the second step is that this liquid water is sent through a boiler. After it passes through a boiler, you get superheated steam at point 3. Okay, now this superheated steam is passed through turbine. Basically, for this cycle, you want to extract some work. Okay, you want to extract some useful work so that you can, let us say, generate electricity or do some mechanical work. So for that, we extract work using this turbine. Okay, the system, basically the gas or the our system will do work on this turbine, which will be used for any external work. So this is the third stage, and once it passes through the turbine, it comes at fourth stage, which is a mixture of liquid and vapor. Now this mixture passes through a condenser. So the job is of condenser is that it takes the heat out, okay, and it again makes it liquid at point 1, which will be again fed through the pump, and hence the cycle continues. So this is the basic idea for a Rankine cycle. Now let us look at these processes in the TS plot. So the first step is isentropic compression. Okay, inside the pump we are assuming to have isentropic compression. So if you look at this plot, so we are now we will plot all the cycles in using the vapor dome. So I want to see whether my substance is at that particular point it is a liquid or a vapor or a mixture. So I need to plot the cycle coordinates using in relation with this red curve, which is a vapor dome. Okay, so now I started at 1 and I went to 2. So 1 to 2 is an isentropic process. So it will be a straight line with respect to x-axis, and basically we are slightly increasing the pressure. Okay, now from 2 we started heating in the boiler. So that is assumed to be isobaric heat addition. Okay, the boiling is taking place at constant pressure. So that happens like this. So from 2 to this point, it is in liquid phase. Okay, whenever you boil, first the liquid gets heated up, and then the liquid starts to change phase to vapor, and then it becomes superheated. So this is the from 2 to 3. This is the same one line only. Okay, this is the one process. Don't think that because it is bending like this, it becomes another process. This is the same process. So we are boiling in boiler. So from 2 to, let us say, this point, it was liquid. At this point, it becomes saturated liquid, and we are continuously adding heat. So from here, the liquid plus vapor mixture starts. So we have okay. Let me draw 2 points. So let us say we are going through this. We first pass through this and this. So which one will have? Let us say this is as A and B. So which has the steam quality or dryness fraction is more where? A or B?
B.
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 So what is happening is basically your proportion of steam is increasing as we go along this line. Proportion of vapor. So then we reach at this point, which is at saturated vapor. Okay, the fluid is saturated vapor here, and we keep on adding heat continuously. We don't stop here. The boiler is continuously adding heat such that it goes to point 3. Okay, now point 3 is your superheated steam region. I would suggest you will go, you should go back to the last chapter and look at the TS plot. Okay, so when you draw a constant pressure line in a TS plot, So this is how it looks. It increases and then it becomes constant and then it increases again. So this is a typical feature or characteristics for a isobar for a in a TS plot. So please revise the last chapter, then it should look clear to you. Anyway, so we reached point 3 here. Now I want the superheated vapor will be taken through this turbine. Okay, the work is being done. So that process is isentropic expansion. Again, we assume that the fluid expands isentropically. Okay, so as we look into real cycle, generally by second law, entropy always increases. Okay, but for ideal cycle, we assume that the process is isentropic. So it increases from 3 to 4. So isentropically, it comes down as a straight line, and then it is slightly inside this vapor tone. So we try to make the expansion in such a way that it just finishes. It just when it exits the turbine, it is near to saturated vapor region. Okay, it has a small percentage of liquid, which is at 0.4. Now this mixture is passed through the condenser, so it goes like this. So basically, at again, you are doing heat rejection at constant pressure, isobaric heat rejection. So we'll follow a constant pressure line P2, which goes like this, and finally you are at your initial state, state 1. Okay. So this is your ideal Rankine cycle. Any questions on this?
Sir, does the liquid also compresses? So, for example, we have water with maximum density as 100,000. So, sir, can it be greater than 1,000 also?
No, generally we assume liquid to be see liquid. We can increase the pressure, but here, where do you see volume change in liquid? We
No,
are
sir. 1 2 is written as isoentropic compression.
yes. So basically, if you use a pump, you increase the pressure. Okay, so for example, you if you have a pump in your home, you are let us say using pump to force water to go from ground floor to fourth floor, right? So
Yes, sir.
you are increasing the pressure. That's what the pump is doing. So the pressure, you see the pressure level is changing. One is at this pressure level P2 and two is at this pressure level. So you basically it is let us assume that this is the same pump what you use for your domestic appliance. So that pump is increasing the pressure on that fluid. Okay, so we are trying to compress. The volume may or may not change drastically, but the point is that it is at a higher pressure. That's all.
Okay, sir. Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, and
So
temperature is also increased.
the boiling and melting point of water here are different due to different pressures.
Uh, why you are talking about melting point is nowhere
Because
here.
the water is converting into gas in boiler at pressure P1 and
Yes,
again converting to water in condenser at pressure P2 and
yes,
temperatures are different.
yes. Okay, so that we have already discussed, right? So if you change, I would suggest you go and revise Gibbs phase rule. Okay, so for example, what we discussed, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure. If you use a pressure cooker, the boiling point will be different. If you take water to a mountain where the atmospheric pressure is lower, then the boiling point will be different. So we have already seen examples, right?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, process 4 to 1, is it isobaric or isotherm?
isobaric. It cannot be iso. Yeah, it is also iso. Temperature is also it remains constant, but it is basically isobaric. See, basically, when you are inside this dome,
Yes, sir.
okay. So generally the pressure temperature both get constant. So if you fix the pressure, if I say that pressure is P1, temperature also remains constant. Similarly, if I fix the pressure, temperature also remains constant here.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
But sir,
sir,
Yes.
but sir, percentage of vapor is increased, then pressure will also be increased, na sir?
Sorry, please repeat. Percentage of.
Sir, inside the dome, dryness factor increase.
So we are going this way. So if you're talking about process 4 to 1, so we are trying to condense. In the condenser, we are taking out liquid, taking out heat. So vapor is returning to liquid phase.
Yes, sir.
Fine. What
Yes,
was your
sir.
question?
Sir, my question is that inside the dome, sir, near the point 4,
Point 4. Okay.
sir, dryness factor is greater than as compared to point 1.
Correct. This what is what will the dryness factor at point 1? If it is a
Sir,
saturated
0.
0. If let us say 4 is lying very close to this, so it is very close to 1. So
1, yes,
point,
sir.
yeah.
Means,
So
sir, at the point of 4, vapor is more.
yes, correct.
Sir, then pressure will also be more, na, than compared to 1.
No, but we are removing heat. We are removing heat. Okay. So at this point we start. We maintain a constant pressure. That
Okay,
is the
sir.
assumption.
Okay,
See, you are
sir.
following this line. Here also the same thing. If you are following these lines, it means you are on an isobar. The pressure is maintained constant. That is how these machines are designed.
Okay, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Got it, sir.
sir, ऐसा नहीं हो
Okay.
सकता।
Yes.
सर ऐसा नहीं हो
Yes.
सकता मतलब ये 4 वाला जो पॉइंट है थोड़ा आगे से शुरू हो और ये 1 वाला पॉइंट थोड़ा पीछे से क्या हो, जैसे हमारा 2 से 3 वाला प्रोसेस जा रहा है।
No, generally we would see if you let us. Okay, that's an interesting question. So let us say you're saying that. Let us say we come back from 3 to 1 like 4 like this.
यस
Is
सर।
this what you're saying? Okay.
यस सर।
So let us say a point 4 is here. So what is the problem? You want to extract maximum amount of energy from that vapor, right? Now at end of process, end of the turbine expansion, you still have superheated vapor. So which has more energy, this 4 or this 4? Superheated vapor or vapor which is inside the dome, which will have more energy?
सुपरहीटेड वेपर।
So why
सुपरहीटेड।
should I waste? So my question is, why should I waste energy here? I will try to expand such that I become near the near the saturated region. I don't want to have a superheated vapor at the exit of turbine. So 4 is at the exit of turbine. I want to use maximum energy, so I will try to be near to this point.
सर लेकिन सर ये पॉसिबल कैसे होगा, मतलब वहां से तो हमारे पास वेपर ही आ रही है ना, तो सर जब हम उसका टीएस प्लॉट बनाएंगे तो वो तो बाहर से होकर ही आना चाहिए ना।
Sorry,
मतलब जैसे जब टरबाइन से हमारी आए तो स्टीम ही रही है,
yes.
तो सर मतलब जब उसका हम टीएस प्लॉट बनाएंगे तो सर वो बाहर से होकर आना चाहिए ना, मतलब 4 से आगे वाले पॉइंट से होकर
No,
आना
no,
चाहिए।
no. See, once you start, once this vapor is, so at point 3 of vapor, right? Vapor goes
यस
through the turbine. So you are decreasing the temperature of that, right? This is isentropic cooling. You can say it is actually expansion, but you can also say that you can look at this plot. Temperature is going down,
यस
right?
सर।
So if you decrease the temperature, basically you are decreasing the energy content, and vapor can convert to liquid. If you keep on decreasing the energy content, it will come down to liquid.
ओके सर, यस सर। So मतलब that is मतलब at the 4 we can get liquid also.
Uh, 4 it is difficult to get pure liquid, but you can get a mixture of liquid plus vapor.
Yes sir, okay sir. Thank you sir.
Okay.
Yes sir.
Okay. Moving on. So there are other plots also where we represent this. So this is basically your PV plot and HS plot. Okay. So this Rankine cycle, as you can see, this is the vapor dome. Rankine cycle can be plotted in 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the same process what we have looked into the last slide. So let me go through it once. And this is the HS plot. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 points of Rankine cycle. Now let me take you through. So 1 to 2 is isentropic compression in the pump. So this is what we see here. 1 to 2, pressure is increasing, as you can see, and volume is also slightly changing. That will be very small change in volume for water. That will not, let us say it is not a appreciable change. It will not change significantly like what we see for gases. Okay. Then we have isobaric heat addition in the boiler. So this is your constant pressure 2 to 3 constant pressure heat addition inside the boiler. Now we have isentropic expansion in the turbine, which is shown here. So from 3 to 4, this is isentropic, but the temperature is decreasing, pressure is decreasing, and you have slightly higher specific volume. Okay. The last process is isobaric heat rejection in the condenser. So this is what we see here. From 4 to 1, this is isobaric, and heat is reduced, heat is extracted, so that your specific volume is also reduced. Volume reduces from 4 to 1, and now we have a saturated liquid here, which will again, the cycle will continue. Now let us look at HS plot, enthalpy. So this is what is important for this steam plants, what we looked at molar charts. So at 1, you have saturated. So this is a vapor dome again. So we have to, as I said, we have to plot in reference to vapor dome, so that we know where we have liquid, where we have vapor. So at point 1 we start with, which is saturated liquid. We 1 to 2 is isentropic compression. So you see a straight line in with terms of x. The x value remains constant, entropy, and we are in. If you pressurize, basically you are increasing enthalpy. Okay. So we go from 1 to 2, which is a liquid state, then isobaric heat addition. So you see this is a constant pressure line. So it goes like this, and it comes to superheated region at 3. Now from there we have isentropic expansion. So we again use a straight line and we come to 4. 4 is inside the vapor dome, just small amount of liquid, but it is mostly consist of vapor. Now from 4 to 1 we have isobaric heat rejection. So at constant pressure the heat is rejected. So you see pressure P1, P2 written here. So P2 is for this line, this curve. So we are back at 1, and then we repeat the cycle. Okay, so let us talk about the efficiency. How do we calculate efficiency or work done heat transfer for this cycle?
Sir, what
Yes.
was 1 dash 2 dash representing in the last?
Okay, so these are different scenarios. So let us say I did not go to here, I expanded here. Anyway, this we will discuss later when we look at some examples. I think it is for some other plot.
So,
Fine. Okay.
yes.
So let us look at what is the work done and heat transfer for different processes. So using that, we will calculate efficiency for the cycle. So let us talk from 1 to 2. So I want to find what is the work done by the pump. That will be the difference of enthalpy. So pump is, as you have seen, pump is basically increasing your enthalpy from 1 to 2. So I will say WP is H2 minus H1 delta H. Similarly, for a boiler, what is the heat input is? Heat input is the difference in enthalpy H3 minus H2. Now for the turbine, in a similar way, I can say what is the work done in a turbine is the difference between H3 minus H4. Okay, so for Q, I am taking H3 minus H2. For turbine, I am taking H3 minus H4. Why is that so? You understand? For boiler, I am taking Q is equal to difference between exit and inlet, right? But for work done, I am saying inlet minus exit. Why is that so? Anyone?
So because W is negative here, therefore.
W
So
is
H3 is greater than say H4.
sorry. Please repeat. Someone said something, right? You are saying that.
सर 3 to 4 प्रोसेस में सर वर्क मतलब ये डन हो रहा है, तो सर ये जनरल सी बात है कि सर जो H3 है वो H4 से मतलब सर बड़ा होगा,
Correct.
ये H3 इक्वल टू मतलब फिर W प्लस H4.
Yes. So basically, we are doing work. Okay, here the system is doing work on the turbine, and as you said, 3 will be more than 4. So see, if you look at these two processes, from 2 to 3, what happens? Whatever the state is at 2, we added some heat. Okay. So Q in was added. So 2 plus Q gives to 3. So if you take it to LHS, it becomes H2 plus Q is equal to H3, which is correct. Now what happens here is that substance has higher energy state. We took out energy in form of work, and then we are at state 4. So I can also write H. So I can say H3 minus W is equal to H4, right? H3, we extracted some energy, we removed some energy, and then we are going to H4. So if you rearrange this, this will become WT. If you take this side and take H this side, so it becomes W is equal to H3 minus H4. Fine. Now let us go to the last process where condenser is removing heat. Again, similarly, we will take H4 minus H1. H4 we had initially, H4 we have initially, and finally we have H1. So that will give you the amount of heat removed in this condenser, Q. Okay. Now let us talk about efficiency. So efficiency for a Rankine cycle again defined in a similar way. The same equation what we are using for previous cycles. So basically we are concerned with what is the net work done and what is the total heat supplied to at the boiler basically. So W net is whatever the work done at the turbine minus work done at the pump. Okay, because this is what is useful work. This is what is the system is taking. So the difference will give you net work done, W net. So which using the from this equations we can write W turbine is work done in turbine is H3 minus H4, which is written here. Now what about W pump? Here we have WP is H2 minus H1, which is written here. Similarly for QH we have H3 minus H2, which is written here. So we are using all the quantity as specific in specific terms. Okay, you need to multiply mass and you will get total heat, total change of work or total heat. So I can approximate, let us say if I assume that pump is doing negligible work. Okay, or let us say that H2 and H1 are quite close. So I can neglect this, I can use this equation to calculate efficiency of Rankine cycle. So if you have values, you can use this, but if you want to just get some approximate efficiency, then you can also use this equation. Okay, moving on. Now, till now we have looked into real Rankine cycle. Ideal Rankine cycle. What will happen ideally? Now let us have a look what will happen for a real cycle. Okay. So for first step, we have assumed that it gets compressed isentropically. Okay, so the solid line, what you see here, solid line, this shows you ideal cycle. Okay, and dotted line shows you actual cycle. So let us see what are the different deviations from an ideal cycle. So from 1 to 2, you get pump will have some irreversibility. Okay, irreversibility means that there will be definitely some increase in entropy. As I told you, entropy always increases for a actual process. Ideally, we assume asentropic, but in real cycles, entropy is increasing. So from 1 to 2, entropy is increased a bit. That is one deviation. Then in the boiler, there will also be some pressure drop. Okay, so that will deviate. So it should have followed this line, but it will deviate like this, and then it goes to 3. Now from 3, we have again the expansion will not be asentropic, but there are some irreversibility which increases your entropy. So it should have come down like this, but it is going in a direction which increases entropy at 4. Now again, if you look at this, what we have discussed, we wanted this to come back to here, but since 0.4 is at superheated steam, so we are losing some amount of heat here. Okay. Now again, when you come back to 1, so there will be pressure drop in the condenser. We assume this to be isobaric, but in the real case, it is not isobaric. There is some pressure drop. So finally, we come at 0.1. So this is how a real cycle looks like. Okay. Now let us see how we can quantify that irreversibility. Okay, so again, the solid line shows you the ideal cycle, and dotted line is for, let us say, real cycle with irreversibilities. So for turbine, what is the efficiency, isentropic efficiency? So I can say that for a turbine, the efficiency could be whatever the amount of work that I'm getting in a real cycle divided by amount of work given in ideal cycle. So real cycle is H3 minus H4A. So this is your 4A. This is what you get in ideal cycle. This could be here or this could be here also. Okay, what we saw in the last slide. This could be here also. Basically, you are assuming that at the end of the cycle you have superheated vapor. So that is your H4A. And divided by ideal. Ideal is H3 minus H4S. This is where we have designed the cycle to come down from 3 to 4. Okay. Similarly, we can calculate isentropic efficiency for the pump. Okay. Now we divide ideal by real. Okay. So ideally we should get, okay, why is that difference is so? Here we have real by ideal, here we have ideal by real. Can anyone explain why is that so?
Sir, one is pump and other one is
Turbine. So what is the difference?
So pump has to overcome internal irreversibility.
And work is done by the pump.
Yes, so one case work is being done to the turbine, and this case work is given to that. Okay, so ideally I needed more work, but in a real cycle I'm giving less work. So this is good for it, increases efficiency. Whereas here we are extracting work. This is the useful work that we are getting out from the cycle. So if we are doing more work in real, then that will increase our efficiency. And if you are doing more work in the real, that will decrease your efficiency. Okay. So for pump, we had defined efficiency in this way. So we divide. Ideal is H1 and H2S. So 2S is basically your ideal enthalpy change. Ideal enthalpy change, right? And for real cycle, we have H2A. This is your for real cycle minus enthalpy at 1. Okay, so these are the equations which you use to define your isentropic efficiency for turbine and pump. So as I said, turbine produces work while pump consumes work. This is as an input. We are giving input to this. Hence, we have different equations for efficiency. These are basically reverse of each other. Okay, now I want to improve efficiency. So what are the various ways or various methods which can be used? One is that we can by improving efficiency, we mean that we want to get more work for the same heat input, or I want to increase the area on this curve without changing the heat input. So one way to do it is lowering the condenser pressure. So let us say if I lower it, we'll have a larger area inside this curve, right? Which will improve your work. If you improve work for the same QH, your efficiency increases, right? We'll look into all these examples in the different plots how it is done. For this slide, I'm just listing it out. Okay. Now we can also superheat the steam to high temperature. So instead of going at 3, we can go at a higher temperature, and that will also increase your area within this curve. But that will also change Q. So we have to look carefully whether we are increasing the efficiency or not. Now I can also increase the boiler pressure. So I can, instead of going at this pressure level, I can go at higher pressure level, and the area work done will be increased, but Q will also be affected. So we'll look into it more closely in subsequent slides. Then we'll talk about some new concepts: reheat, regeneration, or combined cycle operation. So we'll look at it in the next few slides. So let us start with lowering of condenser pressure. So what will happen is, as I said, instead of going through this process, I lower the pressure. So we see that the area increases, right? This shaded area is basically added to your original cycle. So you see that work is increased, but this process is the same, right? So if this process is the same, so your heat transfer will be same, UH will be same, but work has increased. Okay, with a minor, there will be slightly some increase in QH, which is corresponding to this particular line. But overall, you will see that the efficiency has improved. Okay. Now let us look at superheating the steam to high temperature. So instead of going to 3, you can go to 3 dash. So this will increase your work, but your heat is also increasing. Okay, so you have to heat more. This from 3 to 3 dash, more amount of heat is required. So we need to design our cycle in such a way that relatively work increases more. So this heat, with a little bit of heat, if we get lot of work, then we can say that we have improved the cycle, or we have increased the efficiency. Okay, so for example, if you get a little bit increase in work, but you have much higher amount of energy to spend, then you are not increasing the efficiency. You may be even decreasing the efficiency. So we have to analyze it carefully before implementing any such plans. Now let us talk about boiler pressure. So let's say this is the original cycle, which has 3. Now I increase the boiler pressure to go to 3 dash. Now what will happen is, the work done is increased, right? But the lower, this green area is increased. Green area is added to the original cycle, but this area is also removed, right? Earlier we are going like this and coming down. Now we are going like this and we are following this path. So this area is removed, which was there in the original cycle. Now that area is removed from this new cycle, right? So if you remove this area, you are basically decreasing the net work done. Okay. So we have lower degree of superheat, which reduces work done, and W net may either increase or decrease. So this is not a very good option to improve efficiency. Okay, so one more thing is that we'll not go into more detail, but there are also many power plants which work on supercritical Rankine cycle. Okay, so what we do is we increase the pressure such that it goes beyond the critical point, and then we bring it back. So by doing so, efficiency is increased. This is a very effective strategy, but we'll not do much discussion on that. This is beyond the scope of this present syllabus. Okay, but it is good to know that this is practically possible, and many steam plants use that, and it is a very effective strategy. Okay, now we'll come back to what we can do best with whatever we have studied. So one a very useful strategy is to do reheat. So what do we do for reheat? We basically have one more turbine. Okay, earlier we have one turbine, now we have two turbines, and in between those two turbines we are reheating. So what happens? Let us start from one. So you have liquid water, it goes through pump. After pump, it goes through boiler, and then it goes to high pressure turbine. Now once you have expanded or you have extracted some energy from high pressure turbine, you put that fluid and take it to the boiler again, or let us say that this is a reheater. So take to the reheater, it gets reheated, and then that that fluid you send it to another turbine. Okay, and then you expand and follow the regular process using the condenser and pump. Now if you draw this in a TS plot, this is how it will look. So you went from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3 you are in the boiler. Now from 3 to 4, this is the first turbine, okay, high pressure turbine. So once you have expanded here, if you don't have this, you will come down like this. You will follow this dotted line, right? Now you are doing reheat. Reheat means you are changing the state from 4 to 5. Okay, from 4 to 5, you are increasing energy content inside the fluid. You're increasing temperature and entropy both. So from 4 to 5, this is the reheat process. Okay, we are reheating it again to reach the same temperature level. Now at 5, now when it comes down, when it follows this path, this is in the low pressure turbine. So effectively what you see is that instead of having an area which is limited up to here, we have a larger area. Okay, this will increase your heat required also a little bit, but the net gain is far more than that. So effectively we see that net work is increased and your efficiency of the cycle increases. Okay, it will also used to reduce moisture in the turbine. We don't want moisture, we want this to be as close as superheated, as close as this saturated as possible. Okay. So another process we'll talk about.
Here work done is increasing, but can we say that the work done that is increased is more than the heat supplied in the second process? Means when
Yes, that's why this process is useful. If what you're saying is if the work done is not is less than the heat supplied, then it is a wastage of resources, right?
yes, sir. Then is it possible that the work output is more than the heat supplied?
So, see, I am talking relatively. So there will be some change in heat supply. Okay, heat supply have to be increased a little bit, but effectively, on the whole, if you look at the complete cycle, you will see that we have increased efficiency. We have higher change in work done. So you see, this is the, let me draw it for you. So this is the area that has increased, right? Otherwise, we are following this dotted path. So this much work has increased and this much amount of heat has increased. So this is again to heated, right? So this is the amount of heat additional heat that we require, and this is the amount of work, additional work that we get using this reheat. So overall, if you look at examples, or if you get these numbers, you will see that this is relatively more, or we are see, don't confuse it with second law. I'm not saying that the amount of work will be more than amount of heat supplied, then it cannot even be equal, then it will violate the second law. Don't go to there. But if you look at, see, this is the work that we are getting earlier, now we are getting this much addition. So overall, W by Q, okay, this is what we are looking at, W net by Q, that improves whether you have reheat or not. If you have reheat, okay, I'm not saying that W by Q is equal to 1 or more than 1. Okay, that will actually violate the second law. That is not possible. I'm just saying that W by Q for a cycle without reheat, okay, is less than W by Q for a cycle with reheat. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, means net work done by net heat supplied will increase if we twice the
Yes. So
if we repeat.
both, let us say W dash and Q dash. So both W and heat both are changing, but the ratio is higher than this ratio.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Let us talk about another concept which is called regeneration. So regeneration we have anyway studied. So let me go briefly. So pointer. So what will happen is that steam is extracted from a turbine. Okay, so we are not allowing all the steam to pass through it. We take out some amount of steam at some midway. Okay, this is called bleeding. Now this is used to feed water. So this heat is actually used to give to this pump. Once you increase the pressure of water, that water is used in here, feed water heater. I will explain that in detail. So this feed water heater could be open type or closed type. Let us talk about open here. And regeneration basically it increases the average temperature for heat addition. Okay, and amount of energy loss in condenser. So overall, if you see, it improves efficiency. Now let us see what this regeneration is doing, or what is this feed water heater is doing. Okay, so let us say you start from 1, you go to 2. After 2, if you follow the regular or normal cycle, we will end up at 3, right? So 3 is basically this is your heating process. So we should have followed this path. From 2, we have gone like this. Now, but for regeneration, what we do is from 2, we stop at 3, right? So this is your, if you look at this plot, so 2, we are basically heating, not heating inside the boiler. Okay, for the ideals, regular cycle what we have studied, from 2 to 3, we are going inside the boiler, right? Or let me go to another plot. Let's go to the first. Okay, so from 2 to 3, we are heating inside the boiler. We are boiling the fluid. But now we're not going inside the boiler. We are going inside the feed water heater. Okay. So from 2 to 3, I heat it like this. And from 3 to 4, I have another pump. Okay. So from this pump, now that fluid is sent through the boiler. So this 4 to 5 now represents that boiler. Okay. So what happens basically is, now we are expanding using turbine. So from 5 to 7 we have turbine. In midway at 6 we are extracting some amount of steam, and which we are using it here. Okay. So what is the overall effect? What is the net effect of doing a regiment like this is that it increases the average temperature for heat addition. Okay. And whatever the total amount of energy that is lost in condenser, so that is changed. So basically if you look at the numbers, okay, so we'll look at some examples. So if you look at the actual numbers, what are the temperature and pressure values, entropy values. So you see that overall it improves the efficiency. Basically, what we are doing here is that we are extracting some amount of fluid from here, and that energy is basically added to here, added in between before boiling. Okay, so when you enter the boiler, your fluid is at a higher temperature. So by doing this, we see that the overall cycle efficiency is improved. Okay, so that is what we understand from regeneration. And the last point what we use, so I'll just wind up with this. The last point what we use is that let us say we have a gas turbine cycle. Okay, we have a compressor, combustion, and a gas turbine. Now, if I combine it to a steam turbine, so what I can do is, instead of having a boiler, I have a heat exchanger. So in gas turbine, the hot exhaust is at a very high temperature. Okay, so we can use that to boil the steam, and we can have a combined cycle plant. Okay, so this is how it will look. So this is a gas cycle. Now we combine it with the steam cycle. So basically we are replacing the boiler and doing the boiling using heat exchanger. So overall, we are recovering some of the waste heat, and if we use such a system, a combined cycle, then we can use some of the heat which is supposed to be thrown out, and using that we can have a more efficient cycle. Okay, exhaust heat from whatever is written here. So with that, we'll stop for today.
Sir,
Just a second, let me stop this.